speak moron as well as you, but let me try.
What the hell is supposed to do, you moron?
It's a moron. That's not against the law.
Gun! You fucking moron!
Stuff like Batman.
Because he is Batman, you moron.
What are you, a fucking moron? Huh?
You moron. Drop dead. Moron.
Whoa!
Up here, you morons.
Stepping morons like yourself.
Me down, you moron! Hey, moron!
One that's on it that we had before was Interstellar, is there?
Yeah.
Aye, it's decent. I've got my mates, he's got my BT login, so he's gave me his Sky in, so there's huddles on there. That's how I used to think we all had it before, so I'd pick films that were on there, but there's huddles on there.
Well, I sat working for him today and watched The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises in the background. The Dark Knight Rises is, for me, a better film than The Dark Knight.
Absolutely not. It's a garbage film.
Oh, see, I honestly much more enjoy it. Watching The Dark Knight again, it's not as good as what I remember.
Oh, I'm the complete opposite. I might go to that. I went to the IMAX to see Dark Knight Rises, and I thought Dark Knight Rises was absolute shit. Super disappointing. Like
I say, when watching The Dark Knight, obviously Heath Ledger's incredible in it, and I think that takes away from a lot of the film because I'm only paying attention to him and how well he is in Dark Knight, and then the rest of it just kind of goes by the by.
But actually, it always gets forgotten that how good the Begins is in that trilogy too. That always goes under the radar.
Ra's al Ghul. Although Ra's al Ghul in the League of Shadows is much more interesting in Arrow than it is in this. If you want to geek out, go watch the TV show Arrow, where the world's most handsome man playing Oliver Queen.
No, it's shit.
Have you seen the wrestling TV show that he's in? That's Stephen Amell.
Heels.
Yes.
No, yeah, is it good?
Oh, I loved it. I think I watched it all within about a day and a half, 2 days. It's definitely worth watching, and I hope they do a second season for it. What's the name of the other boy that's in it as well? I think he's in like the Hunger Games and stuff.
No idea.
Can't remember his name. It might even be like a Skarsgård. It might be one of them. One of the Skarsgård. He just looks like that anyway. Right, look, will we get cracking? Well, welcome in, morons. I feel like I keep forgetting how we kick these off because we're a bit all over the place with timings and when we're doing them. But nice to see you. Nice to see some of you on the screen. Not all of you are here. One of us threw me off a little bit just before we started recording because he's drinking a Tennent's Light out a bottle.
Apologies.
And it's threw me for 6. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
I didn't know there was such a thing as a Tennent's Light.
Near that.
They're all right. It goes down too easy though. That's the problem.
The perfect way to drink a Tennent's is to have it at room temperature and out a can.
My old baby, honestly. Room temperature beer.
Just Tennent's, no any other beer. Every other beer has to go out the fridge, but Tennent's room temperature out the can is absolutely beautiful.
That reminds me of when I first ever Tina Parks, waking up on the Saturday morning, and obviously it was sunny. You're in the tent, so it's like a million times degree hot. Wake up first thing you do, crack a can, and it's absolutely roasted.
It's just like it's like warm, disgusting foam. Like it's minging, but you just do it anyway.
It's like drinking a can. It's even your pee and it's really dehydrated, and it's like dark brown. It's like that.
This was why I always drank cider when I was younger, because a can of cider, if it's warm, if it's cold, it's never that different. It is what it is. It's a can of pish, but it's always the same can of pish. Aye.
Whenever we go to people, that's always what I get cider instead of beers usually. Like for that reason, basically, so that it doesn't. Beer's disgusting unless it's cold.
I hate cider. Like I despise it. I think it's horrible. It's just like it coats my teeth. It's like, and it actually like gives me like a sore stomach and that too. I think it's minging.
What's more disgusting, Sean? Watching a Tarantino movie to see some feet or drinking cider?
Or you can do both together if you prefer.
No, why would I do things I hate?
I just want to hear your reaction.
Cider literally makes me feel like sick. It's just it leaves a horrible feeling in my stomach, and my teeth feel like they're just coated in sugar at the same time. So I would probably go with cider.
It's not like you to have such strong views on a meaningless thing. I fucking hate cider.
Nah, like obviously that's a bit over the top. Like I didn't mean to swear or that, but the main point was it's just no for me. But I'm glad that you enjoy it.
Well, listen, I was drinking warm Tennent's out of the cupboard in a flat out of choice, not sitting in a fucking field for a gig. And so I'm probably a bit more of a weirdo. But anyway, let's not talk about that as we're getting distracted with Man United scoring. There's Baby Sancho getting a wee goal.
And a Rashford assist just to even things up for you in the fantasy.
Fuck off.
I'm about a minute behind you, so you just ruined it for me, so thanks for that.
Good. That's made me even happier. Well, let's ruin even more for everyone today, and let's talk about the film The Omen before we move on to Pretty Woman. Last week's movies that we did have last week, 2 weeks ago, we had contrasting results with Jackie Brown coming in as a 4 overall and The Hobbit being a disaster for the morons, coming in at a 0.35. Dan, what was your reaction like from Instagram for that? Do you remember?
No, do you know what it was? Right? People disagreed, but not so passionately like they usually do. A lot of people were like, sort of get it. I think like people, like one of the guys said, "Let me go and check." Actually, let me be accurate and quote him. Just talk amongst yourselves, guys.
We're trying to watch a football, Daniel. We're trying to get you to do all the work here while we continue watching the football.
So a lot of people are saying, look, it's nowhere near as good as Lord of the Rings, but they don't think it's as bad as what we think. Like a couple of people said, like, it's not the hill I'm going to die on. Do you know what I mean? Like, they understand that we hated it. So it was actually, for a change, maybe Sean's messages are finally getting through. We got some balanced feedback on Instagram.
Slowly but surely chipping away at them. Well, let's kick into the movies for this week. We'll start off, and if I remember correctly, was this Burnsy's selections of movies?
Yes.
So we had a contrast between horror and romance, which kind of sums up Burnsy in a nutshell. But the ones that did win were The Omen and Pretty Woman. So The Omen says here, a mysterious death surrounding an American ambassador. Could the child that he is raising actually be the Antichrist, the devil's own son? So, out in 1976, at 1 hour and 50 minutes long, I think it's only right that we come to Burnsy first of all to get his thoughts on this interesting movie.
Thanks. It's this first time I watched it, obviously. I watched this over a week ago, but I'm still sort of unsure about it. I struggled quite a lot with it as well. It was just a bit too strange for my liking. I think it being, you might think different, but for me it wasn't really a horror as such. Like I didn't feel myself. Maybe I've just got a different view of like what a horror should be in terms. I want to be scared. I want to be worried. I want to be even confused to an extent. Whereas this was more like, it was more, to me, it was similar to like Zodiac than it was a horror in terms of how it was like they were trying to solve like a riddle to an extent in terms of what was going on with the wee boy. So I thought it was just too much. It was more weirdness that I guess might creep people out instead of anything else. At the start of the film, where Robert decides to adopt the baby, that just started off with a strangeness for me. It's like, I get that people could obviously have their emotions are going to be all over the place, understandably, but I don't know whether it was poor acting or whatever, but I didn't feel as if his emotions were all over the place. It was as if it was just maybe poorly acted in that segment. I just didn't really take them at all throughout the film. I thought Mrs. Baylock was a really good character. She definitely improved it. And I did begin to get more into the film once Damien progresses and he gets a bit older and you see like he's strange personality coming across in different settings, like when he's going taken to the church and things like that. The only bit that I found maybe not scared or whatever, but it was just where Keith dies. That was absolutely disgusting. Like I've got it stuck. I can imagine. I can still see that scene in my mind now. When the glass is coming towards him, it was vile. But it was more. I kind of knew it was happening, but I didn't really think it was going to be as graphic as how they made it, which I guess that does shock you a wee bit. So I don't know what move. I'm still honestly a bit confused after watching it. It wasn't for some of the horrors that were voted that were options. I think I would have enjoyed a lot of them a lot more than what I did enjoy this. But I did feel myself being drawn into the film. It wasn't like one of those where I've watched and wanted to turn off or whatever. And the ending where Damien sort of smirks into the camera, I did think I thought the ending in total was really quite well done. And I didn't realise until reading about it after that obviously there's like a second and third, which obviously sets it up perfectly. I've not read in about what happens next or things like that. But yeah, it was kind of. I think because it was a horror, I was going to probably have high expectations as well because it's one of my favourite genres as well. So it was decent, but nothing that was nothing I would go back and watch again.
No, and that's fair enough. I think for me watching it, it's I've seen it before and I've seen it a couple of times, so it suffers a little bit for me watching it back now because there's so much better horror movies out there. And when you know what happens, you struggle to build the suspense a little bit when you're watching it. It feels really slow though, this movie, and that's where it frustrates me a little bit because I feel like nothing really happens, and you get that little one bit where you think Damien's done something and made something happen, and then it goes really slow telling this story that's not really that interesting. But there's bits that I thought were quite funny, like when they're checking his hair to find the 666 on his head and stuff. It's just it's in that bit like that borderline ridiculous, but he is quite a creepy wee bastard though, isn't he?
Aye.
Oh, aye.
Well,
It's just like you instantly didn't like him when you see his face. You're like fucking hell. The bit where the is it the nanny or the nurse flings herself out the window and hangs herself? That's that like made me sit up and I was like, holy shit! Like I've seen it before again, but it just still caught me with that. Fuck, that's where she's screaming like, "This is for you! This is for you!" I'm like, I'd have loved to see a lot more of him turning people like that and getting maybe the same reaction so that they can then start tying it in a little bit.
Whereas a lot of the film was more based on them trying to solve what was wrong with him, where his dad, well, whatever you want to call him, and what was it, the author? I can't remember what the guy was. That went away to Italy with him. It was more based on that for me, which I didn't really enjoy.
Aye, the photographer. That was aye.
That was it.
Showing you the big slits down the middle of all these pictures that just yeah. Anyway, Daniel, you keep going, mate. Keep going, give some of your thoughts.
So I was very into horror at a young age, but maybe 10, 11 years old. So this was one of the movies I used to watch often. So this is quite iconic for me. Like the scene you mentioned where she hanged herself at the window, saying "This is for you, Damien." The scene where the guy's head gets chopped off. One that neither of you mentioned is where the spike falls off the top of the church and stabs the priest.
It looks horrendous. It looked so poorly done.
But you've got to remember when this film came out, 1976.
Yeah.
I think with the limited technology you've got at the time, I think the movie holds up well. It looks good. Obviously, it looks old because it's old, but I don't think it ages badly considering it's 50 years old, nearly. But I actually think it's a really good film. I like the story about it. I try and put myself in the position of being a religious person. Like I think this film is much. See, if you're a Christian and that genuinely believes in it all, not just someone that says that identifies as a Christian, but a genuine Christian that believes in everything about it.
Make believe.
Aye, this. Well, I'm trying to be like nonsense. Well, but a lot of people do, right? Especially like Americans, right? Especially Americans. Sorry, Americans. But I think if you're in that mindset, this would be fucking terrifying because this is a thing you genuinely believe is going to happen. Like that there's going to be an antichrist that's going to come here to fucking do all this horrible shit. And that's why I think they focus a lot on the Bible stuff and like trying to make it feel genuine to that audience, if that makes sense. So like these are all real things out the Bible, and this is we're going to these genuine places, and this doesn't really land in our type of audience because we don't give a fuck about any of that stuff. Just shows the creepy wee boy killing folk. I think if this movie was made now, sorry, Kev.
I was going to say, yeah, and that's the point I was making earlier about giving more of him turning people to kill themselves or to do horrible things to build up to the last 30 minutes being them working out why and then dealing with it, for instance. Like that would work better for me. But I know when I've watched this when I was much younger, because I was right into like films like this, Children of the Corn and stuff like that when I was young, that were dead creepy and dead scary. This just didn't have that kick anymore. Like it wasn't the one.
I mean, if this movie was made in 2022, all the like investigation stuff would have been a 5-minute scene of a guy going on Google, finding something out and making a phone call. And then the rest of it would be the creepy wee boy doing the fucking horror stuff. And that's what we like as an audience now, right? But you've got to think how different a time it was. So I try and have that in my mind when I think about how I'm going to score this, because I do think it's very well done. I think it was pretty groundbreaking at the time. I'd quite like to watch the sequel. The second one's my favourite. The third one's shit, but the second one's my favourite because it does concentrate a lot. They've given you the backstory now, so you know that this wee boy is the son of the devil, and he's like a teenager now, and so you start to see him like become. Have you seen it, Kyle?
I can't remember. I feel like I must have, because obviously even just his name, the name sticks in with you as an evil name. Like anybody called Damien is an instant thought to this.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I think that's it is iconic for what it is. But I'll pass on.
Listen, we're big WWE geeks. We've got big Damien Priest now.
Aye.
I feel sorry for all the Damiens out there because you've just berated them.
Yeah, if your name's Damien, you're an evil cunt and you're a creepy weirdo.
But it is a
creepy. I speak for all the morons.
It's a creepy name though. Like if you wanted to give a child a creepy name, the first thing that comes out of your head now is Damien because of this film.
I actually used to love the name, and like when I was younger, I used to tell my mum and dad that if I had a boy, I would want to call him Damien. But I'd never ever seen The Omen before. But it was because Derek Trotter's son in Only Fools and Horses was named Damien.
Aye, that's all. It makes me remind the first is that I just like as Only Fools and Horses. Just every time we would do something, it just like all the music for this would start playing.
I mean, it's the same joke. It's the same joke. So surely you could have picked up from watching Only Fools and Horses the same thing. He's still like a devil child in Only Fools and Horses.
Aye, just without the murdering and that.
Aye.
Sean, what was your thoughts on this, mate?
Very similar to Burnsy. But this was the first time that I'd seen it as well, although I'd seen like, bits of it. I'm not really sure where I'd seen bits of it, but like the nanny jumping off and like hanging herself. I'd seen that somewhere before. I just felt like it was like kind of what you said as well, Kyle. Like there was like there'd be a wee scene of like something bizarre happening, like when they're in the car with the baboons at the animal bit, which I thought was actually really cool. Like the way that was shot, it was really well done. And then the bit with the animals are scared of Damien. There's giraffes running away. Oh look, there's a Rottweiler, and then it just goes on to like really boring dialogue and all that. And that just seemed to be the pattern of the film throughout. So I was just kind of like, obviously, like I'm not a horror fan. Like this never scared me in the slightest at all, which I found with a lot of like the older horrors that we've watched. Like it's pretty creepy, and like the boy that plays Damien, his child, was really really good. As kind of Daniel's already said, it was really good casting in that. But I just pretty kind of bored through it. Again, like these kind of films are just not really for me because I've never really grown up to like horror films and all that. Like, I don't get the nostalgia from it. Like I can understand why it's like highly thought of and that. I didn't really feel like it was that dated. I thought it would feel a lot more dated. But I just kind of felt it was like creepy scene to give off the things that like this is the fucking this is Satan, this wee child Satan, and then it's just boring dialogue, and then back to another creepy scene, and it just kind of repeated all of that. It's just like I would kind of say for me bang average, but like that's just my preference. I've never been into older horror films or that. Like a lot of the newer shite horror film, like what like a horror fanatic would call shite films, like the Paranormal Activity, like they scare the shit out of me and all that. Like, and I know they're shite, but I wouldn't watch them because they just terrify me. Whereas like a lot of the older stuff like this, like your Halloween's, like what else have we watched that's older? Like Pet Cemetery and all that, they just don't scare me at all.
Elm Street was the same for you, wasn't it?
Aye, that's the same. Aye, like creepy. Aye, but like I can imagine if I was a 32-year-old or whatever back then, going to the pictures to see that, I probably would have been shiting myself in that. But watching it back now in 2022, it just doesn't really kind of scare me. And I'm really easily scared with horror films and that. So just the older ones, I just find more creepy. Definitely with a better storyline than the current horrors. The current horrors I find a lot like just scary because it's just jump after jump after jump. But I would say, just to summarise, just kind of bang average for me. It's again to emphasise before I get attacked on Instagram. It's not my scene. This.
See, directly after watching The Omen, I put on and I had never seen this before, The Hills Have Eyes.
That's good. Watch that.
Not the original. I think it must have been a remake.
The remake, both good. The remake's good.
Way scarier watching that than watching The Omen.
Oh, we should watch that on this. That Sean will shake hands at that.
That's remake, and it was like a proper like Laurie worked really hard to get me to watch that because like I'd heard about obviously the original and like how gruesome that was and like about like there was I think about the vape scene, which I don't think was kind of toned down in the remake, I think, but in the original it was pretty gruesome. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You fine?
You saw me. I don't know. So I have seen The House of Eyes, the remake. It was oh god, man, how long have we been doing it for? It was probably right at the start when we first started kind of going out in the first year or whatever. But I was very scared of that.
Was that back when you would do things to make her happy?
Aye.
It's when he'd actually give her eye contact and call her by her first name.
No, I just like the other night she came through and she goes, "Oh, that film's on Amazon that I wanted to see, Dog," and I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "That Dog." And I'm like, "Right," and she goes, "Do you want to watch it?" And I was like, and I was like, "Right, okay." So like, this was like late at night, so like we went to bed and then she put it on, and it's that Channing Tatum. How would you say Channing
Tatum.
Tatum, that's it. And it's about him and a dog. I don't know if any of you have seen it or heard of it. But like I just kind of tell her I was tired after half an hour and I turned it off.
Poor lassie just want to watch a film. You make her run 2 films a week, but you kind of watch one with her.
No, that was just shite.
But wait, would you not just let her watch it and you could just go to sleep? Did she have to turn it off?
No, I say to her, "Are you tired?" And then she went, "She on," and I went, "Oh, I'm tired as well." So I then she says, "We'll watch this later on," and she was like, "Right," and then I turned it off, and we've not went back to it.
Sean, your life sounds so excited.
No, like obviously, like we do always watch stuff together and that, but like that, like I just went. I was tired. It's been a long week. I've been on the back shifts and all that. It's difficult. So
I love the way he narrated that way, and she said no, and then I said turn it off, and she said okay.
To be fair though, as soon as it went off, like the tears were out like a light.
Channing Tatum and his dogs put you to sleep.
That was it.
It's just one of those stupid films. Like it's just about a guy who's in the army who got discharged, who wants to go back in the army, and he needs to drive a dead sergeant's dog across the country, but this dog's really bad.
No wonder you're nearly falling asleep with that review.
We've all seen that film.
Is that not just Judy, but with a dog instead? Is that Delphinicus?
Basically, aye. It's another road trip movie, and I can tell you, I've not even seen it, but by the end, they'll form a connection and a bond, and they've obviously gone up to where I've seen they were having issues with each other, but they'll form a bond and a connection, and he'll want to keep the dog. I mean, you don't fucking watch it. I've seen that film 100 times before.
It could be a bestiality movie. You never know. So moving on, Hunter.
What's wrong with you, man? Honestly, that's
Fill the silence, please, Hunter. Fill the silence.
Yes.
Just leave it there, Hunter.
I just end on that. Here's your trivia.
I'm going back to the football, guys. I'm going to mute. Like,
ridiculous.
Aye, right. So for this, I went in hoping for sort of some of the same vibes, or not vibes, but kind of feelings that you get from like Halloween and stuff like that. And I just felt like, I don't know if it's kind of similar to what Bumsy said, where there's too much filler about the investigation, that I was left a lot more bored than I was gripped. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some iconic scenes, and the soundtrack, especially that haunting music, is so iconic for this. I mean, no one's even touched on it yet, but who the fuck hangs a goldfish bowl in a lampshade in a fucking hallway in the first place? That's just asking for an accident.
Good point.
So then, it's not even like she's just like on the ladder putting it above her. She's then stretching over the banister whilst stepping up to put this on. If he didn't come and knock her over, she was going to fall to her death anyway. So
I fuck her, she deserved it.
And then there's obviously that scene with the bike, and then that, I mean, as you kind of touched on, like the death at the start, like, oh, Damien, this is for you, happy birthday. Then she just flings herself off that. And then I think that bit, that obviously you know what's coming with the bike, but it's still iconic, because I think at the time, obviously, it had that shock factor. It's one of those things that's been passed on through generations. And then the twist at the end, I mean, not even like that, I mean, don't get me wrong, that wee sort of side turn and wee smirk and wee evil side eye that he gives the cam at the end is iconic. But I think the twist in itself, because when you start seeing the proper military funeral, you just presume it's for the dad, because obviously it was like the I don't know what it was. It was like the British consul, or whatever it is, whatever his role was. He was in power anyway, so you'd expect that funeral for him. But then no, as you found it's for the cops, because the last thing you see him there firing the gun. So you don't know how. I would like to have actually seen how. I don't know if you maybe see or find out in the sequels what he actually done to stop the bullets, and then.
I don't remember. What I remember is he goes to like boarding school and he's like a teenager. His parents are like, I don't think the dad's involved, so I can't remember how it gets there. I'll need to watch it again. It's been about 10 years since I watched it.
But what I would say, I do remember liking the remake a lot more than what I did this. And I think I've only watched it the once, and I do actually have a funny story about the remake. So. Friend of the podcast and Daniel's puppeteer, they came to visit me one day when I wasn't in. So my mum's phoned me and says, "Oh, Scott Neely's in, you need to come round."
When you said puppeteer, it took me a minute there to work out what you were talking about.
So I wasn't there at the time, so my sister then tells me the story that, so it's nearly my mum and my sister sitting watching the 2006 Omen remake. And nearly as I got to my mom, or Mrs. H, you'll need to turn this off, that wee boy's at it.
Oh man. We're adults at this point, okay?
Yeah.
Who just turns up at someone's door to chap and see if you're in? Is that what's happened? He's just turned up at your door to see.
He must have been stuck for a night out. He's like, I'll go over and get a couple of cans of Hunters. I was there, so he's like, I'm just going.
Just sit with your mom and watch The Omen.
Oh, that's bizarre.
It was a strange period in our lives.
The substances involved in the Hunter.
Not at the during
Mrs.
the watching of The Omen.
Mrs. H was providing them.
She was. But I could back to this one. A lot, very disappointed for what I was expecting, but some kudos needs to be given for part of the scene. It was part of it. You could maybe at the time it was a lot more groundbreaking. It might have caught my attention, but I think I was expecting a lot more from it than what it actually delivered to me.
Yeah. Fair play. Do you have any trivia on this one, Hunter?
I do indeed, yes. Let me just source it just now. So, what I have is apparently the biggest problem with shooting Mrs. Baylock's dog was that the animal was nothing like the creature he was supposed to be portraying. He wanted to lick and play with his co-stars rather than threaten them.
Just turns a night egg. See if it was a cat. If it was round about a cat, that evil wee bastard would be all over the place. They're horrible little cunts.
So when the fishbowl falls to the ground, it was dead sardines that were painted orange instead of actual goldfish because the director refused to kill any goldfish for the sake of making a movie.
Jesus fucking Christ. The goldfish that lasted about 3 days.
The song Ave Satine remains the only Best Original Song Oscar nominee for a horror film, and it's still the only nominee that was written and sung in Latin. And Ave Satine is that Latin for Hail Satan.
There you go. I'm surprised on that point. I'm surprised nobody mentioned the music. I think the music's pretty iconic in this as well.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It does.
The music did win an Oscar.
Yes. So Richard Donner also had to frequently reshoot close-ups of Gregory Peck because the star objected to being seen with double chins. And just think, if they'd remade it now, Daniel, as I said, they could have just put a filter on and none of it. They could have just done it in one take. And apparently during filming, also Richard Donner's hotel was bombed by the IRA.
That came from nowhere.
That's so random.
The show.
I mean, it's not quite De Niro shagging an Aunt Anna. It's up there.
Wow. Fair play, guys. We'll hit this with some scores.
Hunter, is that all the trivia you've got?
Aye, unless you got something else.
I've never done this before, but after I watched it, I googled like the actor who played Damien, right, and I came across 2 bits of trivia that I would like to share.
Nice.
So, see the scene, right, with the baboons?
Yes.
Obviously, it was real, right? They to get them to react like that to the car, they didn't feed them the day before, right? So they were hungry. They put food on and around the car, and also the director sat in the car with 2 baby baboons to make them angry.
Fucking hell.
How brutal is that?
I know.
And my other bit of trivia was that the boy who played Damien was cast because during his audition he attacked the director. He kicked him in the balls.
Violence is the answer, guys.
I'd imagine that boot to the balls was more painful than the IRA bombing.
See on that point you're making, this is on a tangent, but see on that point you're making about like animals being badly treated for movies that you wouldn't be able to do. Remember, what was it called again? The Greatest Journey or something like that? It got changed. It got remade as Homeward Bound, but it used to have a different name. The original was called like The Greatest Journey or something. About a cat and a dog traveling across America to get home, right? And there's a scene in it where the cat gets caught in the water and gets taken downstream, and manages to get out in the end. And apparently, when they filmed it, like 40 odd cats died because to get the scene, they just kept throwing cats in the water.
Jesus.
Until a scene that they wanted.
I'm absolutely all for that. They should have done more.
Hey,
that's horrible.
Horrible. And they had a bear in it, and like the bear was like chained up and treated like shit. There's all this stuff, like every animal in it was treated badly.
That's horrible.
Nice. It's nice. Eh?
Really
We'll do scores.
Cheered us all up here with that one there, Daniel. Bunzy, we'll come to you first for your score of The Omen.
Right down the middle, 2.5.
2.5. Daniel?
4.
4. Sean?
Same as Bunzy, 2.5.
And Hunter?
It's a 2 for me.
Well, do you know what? I was going to say, I'm going to end up being the lowest here, scoring it at a 2. I definitely didn't have the same kick from you that it did for you, Daniel.
As soon as I knew that I'd be the only one, I knew I'd be the outlier here. Hunter actually sounded a little bit sad. I think he felt like he let me down when he said that too.
I did, I know. I did.
Oh, bless. Well, Bunzy, what does that do to the actual scoring then?
2.6.
2.6. And we'll reveal where that lands on the leaderboard at the end of the stream because I don't have it ready. I'll start making that a thing that we do at the end, so I'll buy myself more time. No, that I just fucking forgot.
Then you'll forget.
Before we do move on to talk about Pretty Women, I don't know if you did get any topics, Daniel, that you come through on Instagram, but I did see one myself. What I thought would be quite an interesting one to ask, right? So the post that I seen on Instagram was, it was 3 actors, and you had to remove one of them from existence. But as well as removing the actor, you removed all the movies that they were in. Okay? So the 3 actors were Johnny Depp, Tom Cruise, and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Easy. Tom Cruise.
For Tom Cruise.
Well, it seems like, is that unanimous?
Aye. The other 2 are in some of the best movies of all time. Like Tom Cruise is in a handful of decent movies and
I'm going to make it harder. I'm going to take Tom Cruise out and I'm going to throw Morgan Freeman in instead.
Morgan Freeman.
Oh, wait. That's an existence without Shawshank.
Yes.
It was average anyway.
Scored 4+ by everyone, average.
I would need to think about what else Morgan Freeman's in, because that's a world without 7 as well.
Driving Miss Daisy?
No, but I couldn't, like, 7 and Shawshank are probably in my top 10 movies, so I would need to...
It means there would be no Dark Knight as well, as you were talking about it at the start.
Yep.
We know Dark Knight without Morgan. Aye, see, that's...
That's a better conundrum than the first option.
Nah, I would get rid of Johnny Depp.
No Pirates in the Caribbean, best Disney movie ever made, Sean?
Aye, that's fine.
Actually,
Caribbean wasn't any good anyway. So.
Nightmare on Elm Street, stuff to go.
Aye, it's okay.
In that trio, it would be Johnny Depp, aye.
Edward Scissorhands?
Nah, that's not in the league of the others.
I'm trying to think what our own movies off the top of my head that Johnny Depp's been in that are big.
There's quite. I mean, he's in a lot of good movies, like Donnie Brasco. I like a lot.
Sweeney Todd.
Nah, see, none of these. Johnny Depp can go. See, now the more we talk about it, I'd maybe keep Tom Cruise over Johnny Depp.
Get the Mission Impossible ones. I do like my Mission Impossible movies.
Well, Mission Impossible 2 was like a big time in my life. What age were we? About 13, 14?
Don't know.
Say again?
What's the age gaps between us?
Oh, I suppose, I'm 35.
I'm the youngest, aren't I? I'm younger than you, Bonzi.
Yeah. Sure enough.
This is interesting for folk listening,
How old we are. Well, I'm going to give you one more little trio of people then, and we'll see if it's as quickly as unanimous as that. But we'll go bigger. We'll start with Daniel Day-Lewis, Jack Nicholson, and Robert De Niro.
Oh,
Robert De Niro.
what?
Robert De Niro.
Oh,
I was going to say Daniel Day-Lewis or Jack Nicholson, but I would keep. Who's the other one? Can't even remember.
De
now.
Niro.
Robert De Niro, Burnside.
Niro, that was that.
Oh man, that's even harder.
So our number one movie wouldn't exist.
Yep.
Oh, I forgot he's. No, I'll give it to Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis, like, obviously, there's some of these movies that are out there that aren't quite for me, but I do recognise him as probably one of the best actor ever.
Is it Daniel that loves him as well?
Yeah. So the difference for me is every other actor I would want to keep because how good their movies are.
Yeah, I'm the same. It's like, but the performance of Daniel Day-Lewis is.
Daniel Day-Lewis, like, amazing. Like, I don't know, acting would seem different without him.
If you think about it like this, you would lose less films if you got rid of Daniel Day-Lewis than anybody else.
Aye, but
So,
you lose Daniel Day-Lewis. That's
but he doesn't like the spotlight of that. He'd be okay with it. You would have films.
Okay with death.
What about Jack Nicholson?
And you've got to keep Jack Nicholson. That's a no-brainer. I don't think he's in the quit. Oh, but then you've got De Niro. I don't know. It's so hard. So if you lose Jack Nicholson, you're losing The Shining, which is our second top movie, is it not?
Yeah.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest would be a top 5.
Yeah, but losing Departed as well.
Yeah.
Original 1980s Batman.
A Few Good Men.
Oh, there's so many with Jack Nicholson. There's so many. Like,
Anger Management.
Yeah.
All the movies to put out there. Well, listen, that's maybe a question we can stick out to the Instagram as well at some point, Daniel, and let's get some more people's thoughts on it, because when I seen this, and it had loads of different actors, it had actresses and stuff as well, and it was that case of pick one goes, and all their films go with them.
This is fun. I keep thinking of like 3 in my head to play. This was a good idea. We should make this a thing.
But then
we could make a podcast just on that. Like, we could just scrap the reviewing movies and just like lose one and then talk about actors and films. Right, we've got a good grounding now to do that. We've all seen a fair few films.
Right, I'm just going to throw one last one, guys, before we finish up, just because I've seen 3 names there. Denzel Washington, Tom Hanks, and Robin Williams.
Oh,
Robin Williams.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Aye.
I'm thinking Robin Williams at first.
Good Will Hunting.
No,
Society.
I would definitely keep Denzel Washington, because a few films that we've watched, he's been in, it's been class. So
I would comfortably lose Denzel Washington out of those.
I feel like I similar to that you said that, like, on that point. Denzel Washington films would still probably be as good if there was somebody else playing his role in the films. You could find somebody else to do that.
And the films go with them, though. You can't.
But you know what I mean? Like, somebody could remake like the.
Oh, right, okay.
Like, John, Equalizer would go. I think you're a fan of that.
I would keep Denzel Washington. That's what I'm saying. So it wouldn't go anywhere.
Who was the third one again?
Tom Hanks.
Oh, you can't lose Tom Hanks, can you? He's into. You don't have Toy Story, fuck. That's a childhood gone.
I know. And Big as well.
Oh, loads of
them. Big was.
Castaway, all of them. I could lose Forrest Gump to get that to fuck.
Bridge of Spies.
Was that the first or second movie we ever watched?
It was the second. The first was Daniel's. What's it? Oh, fucking Michael Keaton in it. What's it called again? Birdman.
Man.
Oh God. Well, listen. This is something we can utilize on social media and get some people's thoughts on it as well. It'd be interesting to see people argue to get rid of a Daniel Day-Lewis or to get rid of a Tom Hanks. So if you are listening, there's any combination of 3 that you can think of, reach out to us. We'll put it out and see what people think. Well, guys, we're ready to move on to our final movie for this week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Timed absolutely perfectly now that the second half of the football is just about to kick off. So We are going to talk about Pretty Woman, starring the absolutely beautiful, stunning, amazing Julia Roberts, and couldn't care else who else is in this movie. A man in a legal but hurtful business needs an escort for some social events and hires a beautiful prostitute that he meets, only to fall in love. Now, Burnsy, the romantic that you are, you have got experience here in falling in love with people, experience here in bad business ventures, but most of your experience comes from watching movies. So what did you think of this one?
So I think I thought I'd only watched this once before, but I think I must have watched it at least a couple of times, because I remember pretty much the full lot of it. But I think obviously at those points I was watching it, I wasn't really thinking of what I thought of the film. It was just on instead of actually building a viewpoint, really.
Wait. What situation was this, Burnsy? Where you were watching Pretty Woman, but you weren't paying attention to the film? I know exactly what you were doing.
That's a Pretty Woman and chill night if ever I've heard one.
I'm saying nothing. Sorry. I could see you wanted to say something. I thought maybe I'd made an ass of something instead of you just.
No. The heat was coming out there, Burnsy.
So.
God, I thought red in the face as well, haven't you?
I know. That's what you've got. That's what you've got your camera off, so you can't tell if you're going to embarrass or not. You should do that more often. I thought Julia Roberts was terrific throughout it.
What about her acting?
I was referring to her acting. I wasn't going in hard like you were with your introduction about her.
You were going in hard. That was the problem, Burnsy.
This is going off the rails tonight. What the
fuck? Welcome to Moron's review of masturbation.
That would be a short podcast.
Oh dear. A collective 5 minutes all left.
You did it twice, like. Sorry, back to Burnsy's review of the movie.
Aye. So Richard Gere I thought he played his role quite well, but I don't know about what you thought, but I kind of hated the character a wee bit at certain points, the way he was acting. Because he sort of shows different sides to his character, which is good for the film. It's not in against Richard Gere, it's more just against, obviously, if people watch it and think, oh, he's this nice guy or whatever, he's really not. I don't think. As he comes across as how he respects Vivian at stages, when he backs her up, when she's got you can still hear me. I don't know if my internet's cut out. Right, cool. Football stopped working, you see.
Paying attention though, Burnsy.
I know, it's because it said loading, and I thought I'm going to end up getting cut off in the middle of my speech in the podcast. Anyway, so he obviously backs up for on certain occasions when his was it his lawyer or something that tries to hit on her and wants to pay her to sleep with him and things like that, and also when she's in the shops and then she has issues, etc. So he does have a sort of softer side to him as well. But then there's a scene where he treats her completely like a sex worker, and she reacts to it, and his reaction is just like a dick. Like he basically just treats her completely like that he's paying for her, she should do what he wants at that stage, which I don't know whether he's just hiding that side to him or whether that's how he really feels, etc. So when I've sort of jumped to the end and I'll go back, is that at the very end where it's as if she's getting her happy ever after, etc. I didn't want that to happen because she obviously talked about how she wanted her life. She had ambitions and aims about going back and learning and things like that. And she realised, she had said in her view she made mistakes in life, and that's how she'd ended up being a prostitute. And the ending for me would have been a lot better if that's what she'd done, and maybe she met someone who treated her properly, whereas he did all these romantic gestures, but I don't know how deep his feelings were. It was as if she was a lot more in love with him and she'd fallen for him. I think the film did a really good way of illustrating how people can form opinions of somebody just by their first view or how they look, etc. As was shown when Vivian goes out shopping, and you can see how people are just like in that store are just wanting her out because of the way she's dressed, and they think, I don't know whether they think she's either skint or whether she's going to steal stuff, whatever they think. So it was quite amusing when she goes back and just gives them what for and tells them, well, look what you missed out on. You just took me at face value and didn't realise that, well, one, she obviously had money, but it's wrong to treat MD like that for a start, which obviously you can imagine that maybe that's what happens in sort of stores, possibly even still at this day, about how if you've just got that wrong look, people aren't interested in you. Also, when she's singing in the bath, I thought that was quite a funny scene. How she was obviously not got a care in the world, and she was obviously really happy after. Probably before that, she seemed really unhappy, seemed quite unhappy in her life. And then also when she flicks the snail in the restaurant, and that was quite. I thought that made me burst out laughing because I didn't expect it at all. And then the interactions between Vivian and the hotel manager, I thought he was quite good throughout the hotel manager. I don't know what the guy's name was, but I thought he was quite. He played his character quite well, and you could see obviously they sort of showed her how she was sort of nervous and unsure about things, where maybe she does give off a bit of bravado at times. But yeah, I thought overall I enjoyed it. There's different parts of what I would change about the film, as I've explained, but it was definitely good. Probably because I've watched it that often now, I could probably remember a lot of the film. So I probably wouldn't go back and watch it, but it was definitely one I'm glad that we did review, and I did enjoy it.
Burnsy's watched this movie 100 times, but different 5-minute parts at a time.
Just in the past.
Was it that long, Christ?
No, it's a really good movie, right? And it's one of those ones that's very iconic. It paints that picture of being the dream that the woman's going to be saved by this handsome, rich guy that's going to change her life. And I think it's one of those movies when you watch now where you understand a little bit more about it, you can see how quite toxic it is, like the whole message that it gives out. It falls into that same category with like Disney princess stories and the kind of underlying tone with them as well. But she's brilliant in this. It's very, very iconic. But I don't think I can talk about the movie for much longer without asking the question, guys. Are we all aware of the internet rumour that kicked around about Richard Gere?
No.
Daniel's smiling.
Yes.
Go on, Daniel. Tell us what's the Richard Gere rumour that never went away. Apparently,
if we don't get the podcast name out of this story, I'll be shocked.
Before you go on, is there something to do with sticking animals up his arse?
Yeah. Shockingly, yes.
Animals.
Well, a particular animal.
Well, I read the line that I've got here. So the story goes: Richard Gere once got a gerbil stuck up his ass and had to go to the ER to get it removed.
We see got stuck up his ass. It makes it sound as if it's just went up there and he's not known about it.
Which is even more worrying.
Like, it's like, I just got stuck there. I didn't shove it up.
I just woke up and there was a gerbil in my arse.
How did that happen?
Was it alive?
Yes.
But dangerous.
Do you not remember Eminem done a song, mentions it in a song?
These gerbils have got a mind of their own going up people's bums, I tell you.
Obviously, when you're
like Lemmy Winks for South Park.
Hunter's currently googling how much is a gerbil.
No,
it's like, between us, instead of how many Lego could you stuff up your bum, it's how many gerbils.
That can't be true. That surely can't be true.
It's definitely an urban. It's got to be an urban myth. But like these things, obviously, when you're young in the early days of the internet, this like obviously grew arms and legs every time you heard it. So the story I always heard was you like to get. You know how like a hamster's cage, they've got little plastic tunnels that they can run through. So it was a section. He would have a section of that shoved up his arse, and then he would let the gerbil go up the pipe and his arse.
I thought he was lubing the
happened to Epstein's
He's lubing the gerbil.
See how you say about like stories that you hear when you're younger and that, like there was a story always going like around our school. I think it was my school, but basically that a boy at Larbert High had no rib cage and he used to suck his own dick.
That was it was Marilyn Manson.
And
but there was a rumour going about that like there was a boy for Larbert High that done that as well.
That's correct.
Was that true?
He ended up going to watch The Omen at Mrs. H's house.
So that's been an urban myth about loads of famous people, but I'm sure that's all a thing that debunks it. Said even doesn't matter how many ribs you've got, you can't fold your spine in half.
So no matter how hard you try, cannot be done.
Well, I've got a quote here from Richard Gere himself addressing the rumour.
No wonder my back's.
This is why he keeps telling Laura to go to sleep. Richard Gere addressed it saying, "I stopped reading the press a long time ago. There's lots of crazy things that they come up about me at first, especially from the tabloids. There's even an infamous Gere stuck a hamster up his bum myth."
He's going to deny it then.
I don't.
He just said it was a myth.
Aye.
That can't be true. Well, he's not going to come out and say, "Yeah, I quite enjoy it. Try it." He's obviously going to say bullshit, but
I mean, what even is that? Like reverse bestiality? I mean, who's doing who?
Aye. Like, what happens when it's up there? Like, it's not as if you can put your fucking hand in and pull it out. Do you know what I mean? It just sounds too ridiculous.
I think that's how he ended up in the hospital.
Well, I mean, if it is true, I would like to think that wasn't his first time. Like,
I would imagine it would just keep going and like end up in like your intestines and your stomach and just eat you for the inside and you would die.
And then just come
you mean like the size of animal would keep going, so he did that with a chihuahua, that would be his next. What I call.
Imagine you should get gerbil there and it gave
started off a dwarf hamster, then went to a gerbil, then he's on a chihuahua after that.
I'm laughing in my head so much here. So the idea that he's got a gerbil up his ass, so he puts something that would eat a gerbil up his ass to catch the gerbil.
Is that not the old nursery rhyme?
So instead of the old lady with the fly, it's Richard Gere putting things up his arse. So he puts up a dog to catch the cat, and so on.
You put up a hamster, and then they put up a gerbil to catch a hamster. He's ended up with a guinea pig hanging out the fucking back end of him. Sorry, I couldn't. Every time he came on the screen, that's all I could think of was the rumour about him sticking stuff up his arse. It's ruined anything that he's in for me. I won't ever see past that now. And it's probably one of the early like connotations there, like slander running around the internet and the tabloids, just ruining somebody's career. Because what else is he in?
Yeah, I mean, he had like quite an iconic time, but I suppose from the 2000 onwards, he's not done anything, has he?
Just too busy sticking gerbils up his arse.
Like a well-known name. That like I think everybody has heard of him before.
Yeah,
it's a big name.
Well, there we go.
Anyway.
Dan, what did you think of the movie?
So there's quite often that we sit and do this where I'll sit and I'll say loads of good things about a film, and then I can see all of you sitting going, "Nah, it's not for me." This is how when it feels the opposite for me. This just is not for me, man. I just find it stupid. Like, if you're down in your luck and you're a prostitute, don't worry. A millionaire's going to just drive by one day, and it's a stupid film. Like, I don't get what it's trying to teach you. Like, I think they're both not nice characters. Like, I think he's an absolute dick. I've got a bit of an issue with Richard Gere as well. Like, there's something about his face. Do you know there's some people whose face annoys you? He's one of those for me. He's got those weird narrow eyes. Like, it looks like he's constantly, in like the MySpace days, you would get a lot of guys that would like screw up their eyes for pictures to try and look cool. He looks like he's always doing that, like trying to pose for like a model picture. And his face annoys me. And see when she's in the bath, all I can think now is that video that Sean sent in with Willem Dafoe, his face on her. Which was funny as anything, and that would be better than this. See if it went to that scene, that would be the most enjoyable bit of the movie. It just doesn't do anything for me. It's really cliched. Like, I just don't get it.
That's
it.
what I was trying to say earlier, Daniel, with the actual what they've tried to tell with the story of this is the down the luck woman who gets saved by the handsome rich guy and she lives happily ever after, which is classic Disney with their kind of stuff. But actually, when Burnsy touched on, actually he treats her like shit. He's a bit of an arsehole. He buys his way through her happiness, and actually he's a dick.
Aye, and like it's got that classic Disney attempted sexual assault scene, which it's so weird. It seems like so dated in the sense that not more was. Why was that guy not taken instantly to prison for sexually assaulting that woman? Because that's like forcefully, like physically assaulting her.
Mm-hmm.
And then Richard Gere's even really hesitant about hitting him. He just wants him to go away, and you know that nobody's going to the police about that. Like it's weird for me to look at how different a time it is that that's not even thought of in any way. That guy will just go back to being a lawyer, and I think that's what times were like.
What curled my toes a bit is they talk about their friendship at that point.
Yeah.
You've ruined a 10-year friendship. You just tried to molest somebody.
Just trying to molest them. I did find that a wee bit shocking because I'm not someone that's watched this a lot of times. Like, saw it when I was young. It's never really been my thing. I like romantic movies that are quite realistic and feel like like actual people. I feel like these two characters are too slapsticky. Like it's too many to the extreme. Like one's a down on the luck prostitute, but actually she's a go-getter, and the other one's a sociopath, scrupulous millionaire that just likes to sit companies down. And you get to see this sort of moral arc of him by the end because he's met this nice prostitute. He no longer wants to make millions by stripping down companies. Like it's just stupid. And I was sort of laughing at myself, like, who's in the story arc down? And everyone's went, that's a good idea. And then everyone else watches it and loves it. I don't get it. Confuses me, this film. What do you think, Sean? I hope you agree with me.
I'll be honest, I've not really looked into it that much. I just thought it was all right for what it was. Just a daft film about a prostitute. Like, I'd never seen it before. To be completely honest, I was dreading watching it, but it wasn't really what I thought. I thought it was going to be like a right lovey-dovey, goofy romance film, but like it was just, I don't know, it was all right. Like, I agree with Cow. I thought Julia Roberts was stunning, like ridiculously stunning. Like I've not stopped thinking about her stunning.
Clip that.
It was just, it's a bit of a strange one for me because it's not something that like I would ever like. Like I don't like. I'm not a romantic person in real life anyway. So
Really?
like, idea of watching like any kind of romance normally just makes me like pretty uncomfortable, if I'm honest. Like I just find it just over the top and just cheesy as fuck. But I don't know. I found this all right. Like it was. I didn't find it funny. But like I wasn't like feeling nauseous about two people in love with each other. I don't know. I just found it really weird.
Maybe that was just you having a psychological breakthrough, like a positive breakthrough, rather than the film.
Like going prowl the streets for a prostitute and try and fall in love with her.
As long as
I mean, the fact that you were able to watch it without feeling sick is what I mean. Maybe that's a positive.
Maybe I'm just growing up in that now. I don't know, but like when did I watch this? I actually watched it with Laurie. I get mixed up. I can't remember the last time we'd done this, but it was over a week ago, I think. And like, she asked me after it, like, 'cause she absolutely loves it, and she was like, "Oh, did you like it?" And I was like, "Well, like, I didn't not like it, but it was just like a quite a weird watch." And like, I did find the thing with Daniel saying about the wee gimp for Seinfeld when he tried to basically rape her, and then like his pal just kicked him out, and then like I said to Laurie, I goes, "That's just ridiculous. Like if like that was in real life, like that guy would have got his head caved in surely." So like that again, just like a different time, and I know it's a film and that, so like they just kind of gloss over it. But like you seen it earlier on in the film as well, like when he first found out that she was a prostitute, and then like he went up and he was like kind of touching her arm, and like she was kind of going along with it. He was saying, "Oh, maybe like you should come in and see me one time." Was it like was it that polo event or something? Was
yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
In mad posh spot. So like it was kind of that seed was planted earlier on that like you knew that he was going to make a move on her, and it was just I don't know, it was just weird. That part was like really weird and uncomfortable. But this is genuinely one of the weirdest films I've watched because I don't dislike it, but like I don't particularly like it. I'm like proper bang in the middle. Like I probably would watch this again. And like if me and Laurie were struggling for something to watch, she goes on, try to put Pretty Woman on. I'd probably go, "Oh, right." But I didn't like it.
How much is that of your obsession there with Julia Roberts from 1990?
That was a joke. Like she was obviously like really, really good looking in that. I don't know. I just feel really weird about this film. It's really bizarre. Like it's been done so many times to an extent, like where you get like this. It's normally like Wall Street that they're on. And this guy wasn't in Wall Street. He was just a really successful millionaire and all that, just throwing money at everything. But like, and then like you see him change throughout the film. I know that obviously Daniel didn't like the change and stuff like that, and it was a bit stupid, which is fair enough. But like for that point of view, you could tell what was going to happen and the way it was going to end. Like I said to Laurie 5 minutes, like when they first met her and all that in the car, I said, "Oh, they're going to have a big fallout," and then like she'll like as if like she's leaving, and then they'll get back together at the end, and then it'll be all happy and all that. Like you've seen all that stuff many times before. It was just predictable and all that, but I don't know. I feel really weird that I don't like it, but I don't dislike it. Like I'm proper like meh about it. It's one of them.
It's funny because I feel like his character shows absolute zero emotional range throughout the whole movie. He's just got the same deadpan look on him, even though he goes from being quite cold with her to falling in love with her. It's very samey the whole way through it.
Like even just the idea, right, of like letting this prostitute into your car to give you directions to wherever it was he was going, and then inviting her to stay with you for a week, leaving her in this penthouse, just giving her money, giving her your credit card to go and buy stuff. That is just absolutely bonkers. Like when you think about it, like I mean, I've never like given Laurie my bank card and goes, go treat yourself. Like go and buy
Depends how much money you've got, I guess. So if you're that loaded, then he's probably got that many credit cards. One, it wouldn't matter if you just went and blew it.
I know.
What the company care do? Let's be honest.
If you are a multi-millionaire, you are a multi-millionaire because you are good with money. Like you wouldn't just give your card to a prostitute and say, go to all these expensive shops in Hollywood and buy hundreds of clays. It's just wild.
I mean, it highlights the fact because we all agree that he's a bit of a dick to her, right? And the point you made, Sean, it highlights the fact that see if this movie was about just a poor guy who worked at McDonald's who met her as a prostitute and said, "I love you. Will you stop being a prostitute and come and work at McDonald's with me and we can have a nice, happy, non-prostitute life?" That wouldn't have worked, would it? It's because he had loads of money. So the money. Sorry, Sean, carry on.
But so kind of paints the message that like at that time women would do anything for money, or women like that would do anything for money, not necessarily prostitutes, but you get the idea that like just like lower class or whatever it is, and like money's everything and all that, and like I hate that. So I'm glad that love won in the end.
It paints it in a Cinderella style story though, which is not the best storyline to paint anything, but
no,
I understand it. Hunter, your thoughts?
Understand it.
There is one question I need answered first, Sean. Would you rather watch Pretty Woman again or the second half of Doug?
Probably Pretty Woman again. Because I know how Dog's going to end.
Doug.
Doug.
Like Hunter just put a U right in the bang in the middle of it. Doug.
Let's face it, it's a much better film with Martin Compston than some wee Scottish Terrier. Whatever.
Oh dear.
Aye, so for me, like, I'm probably more in the Bumsy camp for this one. I mean, as you know, the trials and tribulations I had with watching this film in the first place, I had to sit and watch it on my phone because I was not thinking in the right places. I left the house and left my laptop charger here whilst I went away to work. I had to try and squeeze this film in there, right? So I ended up watching it on my phone. So don't get me wrong, I was like texting Laura and I'm watching, like, what you thinking? Obviously, similar to Laura with Sean, that's one of Laura's favourite films, and I was actually enjoying it. I'm just like, I was just sad that I was having to sit and watch it in a hotel room by myself rather than watching it with her.
There's a big benefit in there, mate. You're missing out.
It was interrupting my normal hotel room viewing. Is that what you mean?
That's why you needed that charger for your laptop.
That is true. Aye, but again, don't get me wrong. What you're all saying is correct about Richard Gere's character. He's just using his money to get his own way. And let's face it, although love may win in the end, love is only fueled. She doesn't fall in love with him if he's no rich to an extent. She falls in love with him way before it's the other way around. I mean, I mean, she's the one that makes the first move. She's the one that kisses him on the lips first. It's no, he falls in love with. She falls in love with him first, and again, that's fueled by the fact that he's just gave her the caves to go. He's gave her a taste of the life that she thought working the streets of Los Angeles and Hollywood would give her, and that's how she's fallen for it. But that aside, I mean, let's face it. At the time it came out and it was released, it was a Disney film for the Moz. That was their cast. That's essentially it's the same context, but it's a Disney film for Moz rather than for kids, is what the target range usually was back then for films. But again, that aside, there are still so many redeeming qualities about it. I mean, it's a chick flick without being overly cheesy or overly sickening. And although it's set in the 80s, some of the 80s cheese music works in the right context, and in this film it seems to work. And again, similar to what Sean about said, I didn't hate it. I went in fully expecting to hate it because it just gets built up and you're like, oh, fuck's sake, chick, fuck, rom-com, whatever. And even then, it's not overly funny. I just found myself enjoying it. I don't know what it was. Sitting watching it on my phone with my headphones in some dingy hotel. It wasn't dingy, it was a country club in Middlesbrough, but it was still like it's
Fucking
still
hinting that you're down in your luck there, Hunter.
I know, look at me. Hotel with a pool and a giant screen to watch the football on it, but no, I was sitting in my room crying.
You were driving around the streets of Middlesbrough.
I know. I had that on at my dash cam instead. I just put the film on and drove about for an hour and a half. But I mean, as I said, like, I'm fully expecting it like to have been built up from what other people have told me about the film to like, oh no, this isn't going to live up to anywhere near their expectations, to get to the point I was like, you know what, I actually enjoyed it.
It is a very good movie. It is, although I've shat on the storyline, I'm with you on it, Hunter. Like,
yeah,
it's a lot more enjoyable than what you would expect. What type of trivia did you have outside of Richard Gere sticking things up his arse?
I'll get that for you just now. So the trivia I have is, so let me just see. There we go.
You like how, for those of you that are listening to us, we are always this prepared. So this will be no shock when you hear the us and us as we are like battling around to find the information that we need.
Right, so the first one is Richard Gere is actually playing the piano. He also composed the piece of music that's played, so it wasn't just actually wrote that music and played it. I thought, talented guy, lover of animals.
For some reason, the fact that he did that makes me dislike him more. It just
So there
makes
was
me more.
actually someone else that was offered the role before him. Do you know who that was?
What time? What year did this come out?
1990.
Tom Hanks.
Charlie Sheen.
Neither.
No.
And this person actually turned down the role. It was Al Pacino.
That's a different movie.
I know.
That's a sinister sex movie. If Al Pacino.
So also for the final scene, when they filmed the scene with Vivian talking about wanting to be a princess who's rescued from a tower, they still hadn't written the movie's ending where Edward rescues Vivian. So how can you be filming a film that doesn't?
Wait, no, the ending.
The whole point of a screenplay was you read the script.
That sounds like something wanky a director said to sound cool in an interview.
So also because this was a Disney film, they actually didn't want Julia Roberts or Richard Gere. So this is someone else that was in mind before. So the firstly they wanted Meg Ryan to play the role of Vivian. And can you guess who Disney wanted to play the other role? You'll never get this in a million years, but
instead of Richard Gere.
Instead of Richard Gere or Al Pacino. So
right. So this is who Disney wanted.
Harrison Ford.
No.
It's going to be somebody outrageous. Sean Connery.
Yes.
No, it isn't.
Yes.
No.
I'm sure you're a prostitute.
I promise I never looked that up.
That's
so
funny.
And also the final bit of trivia it has is during the sex scene, Julia Roberts got so nervous, a visible vein popped out of her forehead. So the director got into bed with Julia and Richard Gere, and I'm not going to lie, my hand started reaching down during this bit. And then it says Marshall and Gere massaged her forehead until the vein disappeared.
There's something's happened there. Something Tarantino likes happened there.
Oh, aye, definitely. Richard Gere's got a vein fetish. That'll be the next one.
Is that you?
That's me all done, unless anyone else has some more tidbits.
Nothing.
Sean only did his research for one.
It was just by chance that I seen the stuff of the woman when I googled the young boy's name. Not the young boy's, when I googled to see. That's what I'm trying to say. When when I went on to the boy who played Damien. That's what I was trying to say. I just came across those trivia by chance, but I thought Hunter would mention it, but then I just think so. I've no trivia for this.
I love how we've got the confidence in Hunter that he does his trivia that everyone goes and looks up the movie after they've watched it.
I know, it's nice to give them a sounding. After a few quiet weeks, I've been on the ball since, but it's nice to know that aura of doubt is still there.
No, I never look it up because I like hearing them for the first time from you.
It's funny because I don't for what we watch, but if I watch something else, I'll sit and read about it. And I do chuckle that every week in every movie that Burnsy watches, he always says how he looks it up after.
Yeah.
Aye. But it's because Burnsy actually likes to study and be prepared. He likes to know the actors' names. He likes to know the characters' name. He always knows the characters' names. We're always going, aye, that guy that looked like the one with black hair. Burnsy always knows that was Hank.
Yeah. I'm flicking through. I've got them up on IMDb and all my tabs open so I can click between them to see who's who.
I'm glad you do, because if it was left, I think, to me and Sean, we would just be going, who that guy? Who that guy?
The main guy.
That guy that sticks gerbils up his arse. Right, let's get scoring. Burnsy, we'll come to you first once again.
3.75.
3.75. Daniel?
1.25.
1.25. Enjoy your Instagram hate this week, mate. Sean?
So I know this doesn't really go with what I said, but I'm going to give it a 3. I did say it's like a straight in the middle, but I think it's better than a 0.5. But I'm still right in the middle with it, so I'm going to give it a 3.
You're still staying right in the middle from 5 and you're going with 3, yeah?
Yeah. But it's better than 5, so it's a 3.
3.5 for me.
Well, I think I must have liked it more than the lot of you because I was going with a 4 for this. Although there is a questionable storyline to it, I do really enjoy the movie.
I'm the outlier for both movies in different directions this week.
Just you being difficult, Daniel. Oh. What does that do to the overall scoring?
They added it up and then deleted the number out, so I'll need to do it again.
You do work as an accountant. There is only 5 numbers.
3.1.
A 3.1. So I have updated the leaderboard ever so slightly as we were going. So a 3.1 will bring this movie joint with a movie that we just watched recently in War Dogs, alongside other movies like Boiling Point, Con Air, Gone Baby Gone, and The Strangers. We're actually going to have 6 movies sitting in at a 3.1. But that's all the way down in 70th on our list, which is actually quite low down.
Big list now, though.
It is a big list, and The Omen came in joint 93rd with Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
I like both of those equally, probably. Very similarly.
There we go, happy days. Well, that does bring us to the end for it. So like we said, The Omen is a 2.6 and Pretty Woman is a 3.1. We are quite far ahead though, guys, with knowing what movies that we've got coming next. So who can tell us what are the movies for next week?
Is it sports week or fantasy? It's
Sport, aye.
Happy Gilmore and Coming Durban.
It's Le Mans / Ford versus Ferrari because it's got 2 different names for the same film.
Which annoyed instantly before I watched the film. I went into that with a very negative mindset based on that alone.
I thought you liked it. I thought you picked it.
I'm not saying whether I liked the film or not, but when I realised that
Basically, the split film name has impacted his score before he's even watched the film, is what you say.
Annoyed me.
Yeah, well, maybe that could be in the trivia because I actually don't know why it's separated in different parts. So that will be something Hunter, Sean, and Bungie will all research before we go on, just to make sure that at least one of them's got it. Although, so we do have that coming up for sport next week. The week after, we do have fantasy, which I'm sure we're all excited to watch. Fantasia. There'll be loads to talk about that, guys, won't there?
Yes.
Oh, plenty.
I know, I need to get onto the board to my mouth for some narcotics for that one.
I'm actually looking forward to everyone's thoughts on Life of Pi as well. I think it's going to be an interesting discussion, that one.
On what?
Life of Pi.
All right.
Because we've got no idea what we're watching. And then
different there.
And then the week after, we will have action movies that haven't been selected as of yet. It was a bit controversial within the group, so we will get the movies out there on the Instagram in the very near future. But we are just going to spin the wheel to get the week after. So we're going to be a good month away from watching these ones, but the next category will be selected. It's actually quite nice to be so far ahead with the planning, guys.
Sometimes my uneven work schedule works in our favour.
Well, there we go. So Disney was mentioned quite a lot, and we do have Disney. That was obviously fate that it's selected that we'd be watching Disney movies. So we'll have to decide how we're going to split that up with the different areas we've got within Disney.
I would vote for a respin because we've got about 4 Disney movies coming up, and we've just had one the night.
Oh, we've got Fantasia coming up, and we've just had one.
Get that to fuck.
I agree, actually.
That's it. Let's throw all integrity out the window and respin it.
I thought it was going to land it again for a second.
I was really hoping it would land in the musicals there, but it is going to land in comedy.
Sound.
Nice and easy, nice and basic comedy. If you have any suggestions for comedies that you would like us to put onto our list, you've got some time to let us know on Instagram. If you are here for the first time, please drop us a follow. Thank you very much for listening. But I bid you morons farewell.
Bonsoir.
At least one person says bye to our audience, Hunter.
I was just waiting on if Hunter was going to say hello or goodbye this week.
What's the score?
It's still 1-0.
Ronaldo's just hit the corner flag on mine.
It's just tied overhead kick. Was that for that with the pass?
Oh no, after that he was through on goal and then just sliced it.
Any good transfers happened?
Was that not a cutback, Burnsy?
Well, nobody was there. So.
Sorry I don't speak moron as well as you, but let me try.
What the hell is supposed to do, you moron?
It's a moron. That's not against the law.
Gun! You fucking moron!
Dressed up like Batman.
Because he is Batman, you moron.
What are you, a fucking moron?
You moron! Drop dead. Moron.
Whoa!
Up here, you morons!
sidestepping morons like yourself.
Me down, you moron! Hey, moron!
Bid you farewell and good luck, morons. Bye.